Good morning, everyone. 8:15 on this Tuesday. A lot happening in the world. We know it. We're bringing an extra shot back to Facebook Live. I know yesterday we just did a quick little video for you because of everything happening, all the devastation down in the southern region of Texas, the greater Houston area. We know that President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump are on Air Force One right now, heading down from Washington, D.C. to Corpus Christi, actually, which is just southwest of Houston, to get there to assess the first stages of the federal recovery effort, to help out in every way possible, to show support physically, you know, to be there down in Houston with all of that flooding. So just by the numbers, we know that FEMA has reported, and this was that last report, things are constantly changing, very fluid numbers. 30,000 people need shelter.
Wow.
There's just so many people who have been out and of their homes, and we see them in these boats. I have a friend who works for the network, and he's down there right now covering these stories, and it's just so sad to see the people. He said these people live in just normal houses, living a normal life. All of a sudden the storm comes, they were told not to evacuate, to stay put, and now days later they're on these boats with just a backpack, been completely displaced from their homes. So I know, Michelle Apone, you've been tracking this. Rob Carlmark's been tracking this. Cornelia, you have friends who are down there in the Houston region. So let's just talk about it. And everyone at home, please comment right now. How do you feel about everything going on? How does this affect you 2,000 miles away from this? Who do you know down there that's been affected?
I don't think people realize that this is going to be ongoing. It's not just going to be what happened over the weekend. It's going to continue to be a very bad situation for residents down there. They can't get back to their homes. Water is just going to completely be standing, like very high.
All of the animals now that are coming
Yes.
out, right? All the swamp animals that are coming. You have the alligators, crocodiles, you have fish. I saw one man in his home catching a fish in his own home. A rat, the friend who works down there, saw a rat swimming by.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he was out there in the water.
And it happens. And I think what people forget, a lot of people in Houston right now came from New Orleans during Katrina and never went back because of the level of devastation. Not all, but there was a large number of people who just moved and transitioned. So this is traumatizing in a way. Like when you see something of this magnitude, you think, oh, I remember this, and I remember people died, and I remember once in a lifetime. I remember how bad it was. So I can only imagine a lot of people probably having some sort of PTSD because of this, because you're back where you started.
Well, I don't think people realize that the water is going to start to get contaminated. The sewage systems, that water is coming from somewhere, and then water is going to be joining that from like pipeways and sewage ways. So in these areas, where's the water going to go? And we know that we've been talking about it this morning, that the reservoirs are very close to essentially being ground level. And it's just one of those very, very scary situation out there.
That's a whole nother situation. Rob Carlmark was really going in on that. You can visit his Facebook page, and he'll totally explain what that means next. He compares it to what happened at Oroville, and that was a very different situation because Oroville is much larger than the reservoir system that they have down in Texas. So we know that rain continues to pour. I mean, you're the weather expert here. It's only going to get worse. I saw reports this morning. ABC is out there. It's raining while they're covering the storm, talking about the floods.
They've already seen a record amount of rain for August. It's like, it's amazing to know that there's 43 inches of rain just so far. And they're dealing with rain right now as the system slowly pushes off to the east and northeast, and it's going to affect other Gulf states over the next couple of days.
That's insane. So it brings us to this next conversation. The big headline this morning, at least when I woke up and we came in, was, wait a minute, so Pastor Joel Osteen is in the headlines, and why? So Cornelia, I know you've been researching this story. What is it about his church that's getting a lot of people angry?
Right. So in case you don't know, Joel Osteen is a pastor of Lakewood Church, which is in Houston. 17,000 members are a part of the congregation. The church was the old Houston Rockets Stadium, so a large space. But people got a little upset because Lakewood Church posted a post on Facebook on the 27th of August saying, "Dear Houstonians, Lakewood Church is inaccessible due to severe flooding. We want to make sure you're safe. Please see the list below for safe shelters around our city, and please share this with those in need." Now, that's when it kind of started the backlash, because people were saying, well, no, the church is accessible.
Like, wait a
I
minute.
see it. There's no flooding outside. Why aren't you opening up the doors for people who are displaced or need help? This is a large event space. So that kicked off like a Twitter backlash
There
per
it is
se.
right there.
There it is right there. Not necessarily right now, but that is showing you what the church looks like. So this started a big event or a big deal, because you have one side of people saying, the church is here to help people. You're supposed to serve the people. You're a man of God, so that's what you should do. And they're not understanding why. I hear another side of the argument saying, logistically, when you talk about a event space that large, you do need staff and volunteers. You do need.
You don't just open the doors.
You can't just
you
open the
need
doors and nobody
supplies.
there. You need supplies. And is it that big of a church where there's a board of trustees that has to approve opening up the church for something like this? So two sides, but it's a big talker, and it's happening right now.
I think more than anything, I think people immediately go, why aren't you opening it up? But like you said, people need to realize that there's this space that is not staffed. They don't have the food, the resources. Is there even a way to get to it? I know we saw a few photos of people, of the church members inside of it, that there is water coming into it. And I think more than anything, they want people to be safe, but I think more than anything, people want a roof to be under, just to be safe, just from any of the water or rain.
Well, absolutely. There's going to be a tipping point, right?
Yeah.
The shelters, Red Cross can only do so much. What happens next? Which is now he came out with a statement and saying, yes, my doors have never been shut per se. I've never not wanted people to come. It's just logistically wasn't able to. This is again according to Joel Osteen and his people. But he's saying now once these shelters do reach that point where they can't house anyone anymore, then they will physically open the doors.
Right.
So. But that's just not sitting well with people, because they're thinking, here you are, this mega church in Houston. We're going through the worst conditions weather-wise we have ever gone under. You would think that he would just open his doors and figure it out. So I want to bring some people in here who are saying good morning to us, by the way. Ruben, Almanzar, thank you. Lydia is saying he's just trying to do damage control. Glenn McBurney Jr., that guy isn't representing Christ very well, in my opinion. Such a phony, with an eye roll emoji.
Okay.
So this is just the temperature of how people are feeling. Many more need to be rescued. Yes, Daniel Faith said go to Hurricane Harvey 2017 Facebook page. Many more people need to be rescued at this moment, and that's the other side of the story, right? We're saying, okay, yes, there are all of these fantastic rescue stories, human kindness being displayed in so many visuals that we are seeing, but that's only one side of the story. There are people who, I'm sure you and I were talking about it, you know, when we were off the air, there are people right now who are stuck, who can't get to their rooftop probably and write messages, who can't call for help, who aren't being heard. There are people still stuck, and who knows what happens when this water starts to recede.
Well, again, and we saw with Hurricane Katrina, and I don't think people really remember how bad it was. Thousands of people died in Hurricane Katrina because the waters rushed in so fast. They went so high to the point where sometimes your rooftop wasn't high enough. So that wasn't even high enough. So I see where people are getting frustrated with Lakewood Church and that magnitude. But Joel Osteen now is the church. Lakewood is coming out saying we will be once the shelters fill up, we will be opening up. There were pictures of them setting up like air mattresses and blankets and supplies. So the positive of this, the backlash did lead to something.
And we also had brought up the fact that he isn't just someone who's just not just a pastor. That's great in itself, but he's not just a pastor. He has many gigs. I mean, he is a TV star in addition to that. So you don't know what other things are needing to be done to meet deadlines, contracts, that sort of thing inside the church to just open it. Because once he opens the doors, you don't just shut him. You don't just shove people out. It's like, for how long is this going to be?
Because people would
now?
probably need to be there for a long
And they're
time.
going to be there for a while.
Houses are underwater and never coming back up.
Yeah, they're going to be over there for a while.
For years.
People were in that convention center in New Orleans for a long time.
Yeah, there needs to be a plan of action before all this happens. So sending all of our love that way, 2,000 miles south of us, southeast of us. If you are feeling in your heart that you want to do something, right, and you can't get out there and you can't volunteer for whatever reason, of course, we understand. We know that 1,300 flights in and out of Houston canceled completely. The main airports are shut down completely. It's really tough.
Can't go anywhere.
You can't go anywhere. We do have a crew. Our parent company, Tegna, has launched an initiative for all of you, our viewers, and any of us here to donate to, and all of this money goes to the Red Cross, which
does.
then goes directly to the people who need it most. You can trust us. We want you to know that. abc10.com/Texas Cares. Again, abc10.com/Texas Cares. And make your donation today. That's one way to help. We know that celebrities, of course, this has touched everyone from J.J. Watt, the NFL, to Kevin Hart, Chris Brown, $100,000 he's donated. I heard Beyonce and Jay-Z, Beyonce setting up some sort of fund within her, under her website where people can go and donate. Everyone's trying to do something because, again, you bring up Katrina, and here we are again. Different situation,
and then
still
devastating.
Producer Billy just said that the owner of the Houston Rockets put up $4 million.
Wow.
So, so people are really coming in, and you have to, because people don't. You need stuff right now. They need help right now. And so, if it means $5, $1, $4 million, I
mean, come on.
You got to do.
I think we take for granted that people just need food. People need basic things like underwear. They need clothing, and all this money will go to them to help them just with day-to-day things. Again, you said, Megan, that our website is abc10.com/Texas
Cares.
I think I put on my Facebook page and Twitter page. You did yesterday
there as well,
too.
And tweeted it. You can go right now.
Probably easier to find that way.
Yes, we actually have our digital department. They're so good at what they do. They've actually left the link right now in the comments below. So if you're commenting, if you're watching, just look. The link is there. I do want to bring in some more comments here. Cheryl she's talking about Joel Osteen again. They don't need him to be there, meeting at the church. They're not being godly at all. Is he waiting for the death toll to rise? So, no, they've come out and said he's not waiting for the death toll to rise. He was waiting for the shelters around there to reach capacity for them to get a plan so then he can open his doors. So
I don't think people realize that they are using this church, though, right now as a distribution center. So they are collecting items, and I think today they are going to be collecting baby items, infant items, diapers, food, things like that. So they are using it, maybe not to the capacity that people expect them to be using it, but it's one of those things. Hopefully in the next couple days or even in the next 24 hours, they actually open up to people who actually need shelter from this.
Janet Piper brings up a good point. Blood donations are also much needed right now. I mean, there are people who, we saw the elders who are being saved in boats, people who can barely walk, yet alone swim, yet survive. So thank you again for your comments. I have a couple of questions. Janet Piper is asking, is Dina okay? Because she mentioned that her family is down in Texas. Yes, her family is okay. So thank you for asking for her. Let's see. Yes, Dina's not around to do Extra Shot today, but Dina is okay.
Yeah, she's fine.
She's totally fine. Okay, well, shall we move on to the next topic?